Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you with another lesson. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakak Dash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Those of you that are new to this thing, who are coming into the fold, who are coming into the truth, Shalom means peace. Alright, so Yahweh is the name of the Most High, who the world stubbornly calls God and Jehovah. That word God simply means power. So, God has a name, and his name is Yahweh. Okay, but Hashem just means in the name, alright? And Yahweh Shai is Yahweh's son, his firstborn, alright? So, St. John, chapter 3:16, his only begotten son, that means the first. But that's not the, it doesn't mean, a lot of people just think he's the only. No, there's 144,000. Remember, Yahweh has sons. Okay, there's 144,000, the X-Men. Gods on the earth with spiritual powers. They're not ordinary men. They were the first spirits ever created right after Yahushua. Then came everything else. The angels, the demons, everything. And then the planets, the oceans, and then you mortals out there. All right. You mortals and the animals were created the same year, on the 5,000 year. Just a quick FYI. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna get into do you believe? All right, that's the topic. Do you believe? Because do you believe? Are you just pretending? Revelation chapter 3 verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. See that? So right here, all right? Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. So what are we holding on to? What are we trusting in? The Lord's word. Okay, it's right there. Okay, is right there shows us that we're not going according to what we feel is right, what we think is right. We're going to what the Lord's saying. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So who's gonna keep us? Who's gonna keep us from the hour of temptation? The Lord. He's saying I. Okay, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. See, he's saying I. Okay, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world. See, what shall come upon all the world? Because remember, these elites, all right, are going to cause chaos throughout the four corners of the earth. Not just the United States, not just the UK, Africa, Australia, it's the whole world. All right, and the Lord Yahweh Shai created everything. Okay, this is his program. He created the wicked to do that. Okay, they're not just doing just because they're mad or just because this is what they came up with. No, the Lord created them for this purpose. They're the left-hand side. Who controls the left-hand side? Yahweh. Okay, he tells his son Satan on the left-hand side. Okay, and which is he's an evil angel, but on the left, he's a top evil angel, but on the left-hand side. Okay, all right. And Yahweh Shai is the top righteous angel, but on the right-hand side. See, there's two sides, and Yahweh controls both. Which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Right, so right there, all right, to try, what does that mean? It's a test. Okay, it's a test, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you got to understand. Okay, it's a test, to let you know out there that, it's a test. So the Lord is going to try everybody. That's the final test. Do not take that chip, the MARK, all right, which is the RFID, all right, the chip. Okay, this is the final test coming to the whole world. So this is what you have to prepare yourselves for, because a lot of Israelites out there, okay, they are going to go into concentration camps. You got to get ready, because Esau is going to try them. Who in the earth, okay, the Israelites, he's going to try them, because Esau is going to he's going to test them, because Esau's like, okay, well, not only is the Lord going to test you, but Esau's going to test you too, these elites, because they're going to, test you, say, all right, well, you think you believe in the Lord? Well, we're going to test you, test your integrity. So a lot of people, they're going to kill family members in front of you, your friends in front of you. You're going to be betrayed by, families and neighbors, co-workers. You're going to be tested. It's a heavy test, a very real test. What if they take your family from you, and say you can never see them again or whatever? Some people are going to fold, Some people are going to say, oh, man, See? So, you got to understand, these real tests are coming, It's not all just, good times and peaches and cream. You got to remember out there, Akia Manakwa, that we're not out of the woods yet. It's still going to get way worse. Sometimes, it's all right that, yourself that you're an Israelite, that, the Lord, name and stuff, but remember, there's still a heavy times coming, a heavy test coming. All right, let me go to another precept. So that's what you got to keep in mind. You don't want to get too comfortable here, because you got to remember, you always have good days and bad days, but you got to understand the bad days are coming. Look what our Lord had to go through. Remember, so if he had to go through it, so do we. Okay, so do the hopeful elect. They're going a part of that number. All right. So that's something that there we go, right here, perfect. There. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. Is that when you're feeling good, how it is, because you have your weeks when you're up, you have your weeks when you're down. But you got to remember too, like when you have your good weeks and stuff like that, your good times, don't get too complacent. You got to focus. You got to remember, because we are in a war. Remember, these top elites want to take out all the Israelites out there, especially those who are in the truth. And number one, the top on their priority list is the prophets, the ones out there, telling the world, these elites, telling the world, what's going on, because it's one thing if you're awake, but it's one thing if you're out there on the front lines, telling the people out there, opening the public. See that? So the prophets are priority, public enemy number one to the New World Order, but that's all right. The Lord and the angels are going to take care of them. And, remember, it doesn't mean that just because you teach the word that nothing's going to happen to you. Remember, our Lord got crucified, but, some brothers are going to, remember, not see death, but there's going to be some brothers who are going to get pierced, who are going to go through stuff. But does that mean that brother was wicked? Does that mean that brother's not part of the hopeful elect? No, that just means that that's his test. Remember, the believers are about to go through a lot, and they're gonna try, your children out there and your wives, because the women are gonna be tried too. Remember, because these elites are, if let's just say, you're just following, brothers, GMS, you're, that you're an Israelite, you're a main target. You may not know that, but you got a target on your back from the elites. This is something you got to understand. Okay, you got to understand that you got a target from the elites on your back. You got to really understand that. Okay, All right, Isaiah, let me get this here. Big time. All right, and that's even if you might say, well, I'm not even teaching it. I'm not even teaching the word. That don't matter, okay? Because it's all it's even if you just know that you're an Israelite and you watched a few videos, okay? They know that these elites know that, okay? They're keeping track of everything. Imagine with their AI and all that, okay? They got everything dialed in. All right, so don't think that, oh yeah, they're not gonna know. They know. Okay, plus they have witches and warlocks who know. Okay, they know who the righteous are, because these top witches and warlocks, when they sacrifice a baby, the demons tell them who's who, so they know who you are. They know, okay, like, all right, is this person legit? Like, let's say you have a family member and they may be coming into the truth. They'll know, like, okay, yeah, that person's gonna sell out, or no, that person's gonna be faithful. So they know. Okay, it's something you gotta understand. All right, because there is power on the left hand side. It's not stronger than the right hand side, but they do got power. You gotta understand that it's very heavy, this thing. You can't just be sneaky and like, oh no, they're not gonna know. They're gonna know. All right, this is something you gotta understand. So if you think like, oh no, they don't know who I am, they know. All right, but that's all right. This is why you gotta cleave into the Lord, and you gotta understand what you're a part of. Don't be afraid, okay? Fear not, thy worm Jacob. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. But they that wait upon the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, shall renew their strength. See? They shall mount up. See, so right there, wait upon the Lord, meaning what? Trusting. So right there, one of the main reasons why there's so many sellouts out there is because why? They're not waiting on the Lord, because they're not being patient, okay? Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. But they that wait upon the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, shall renew their strength. Because, waiting, you gotta be patient. Patient goes into suffering. All right, so why do people sell out? Because they want the money now. They want the women, they want to be famous and all that. You know what I'm saying? They want the clout, So that's why, they that wait upon the Lord, because they're like, you have to wait, So it's just like, like let's say if somebody's real hungry and somebody's like, you know what, I'm going to cook this big old dinner at home. It's going to take 2 hours. Like, oh no, I'm just going to go through a drive-thru. I'm hungry right now. I can't wait, See, so that's how the people that sell out, because they can't wait. They're like, I'm not waiting on the Lord. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get women right now. I'm going to go get famous. I'm going to get my TV show right now. I ain't waiting. The hell with that shit. See? So that's why people sell out, because you're not patient. You're not waiting on the Lord. See? They that shall renew their strength. All right? Because the righteous are going to renew their strength. See that? So the righteous are going to renew their strength, meaning what? The Lord is going to give them everything they lost plus more, okay? All right? They shall mount up with wings as eagles. All right? So what does that mean? They should mount up with wings as eagles. That means that, remember, starting with the 144,000, they're going to start flying out here, okay? They're going to start flying out here. Remember that, okay? Remember, you're about to see so-called, blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians flying out here, the 144. Okay, and then you might have some 144 that look like Caucasians, so-called Asians, Facts. Remember, because the Israelites have been scattered throughout the whole planet Earth. But, because the 144,000 are going to receive spiritual power on this side. But remember that not only the Israelites, okay, the 144, but when the Lord gets back, remember, and when he takes us back to Jerusalem, okay, all the Israelites, every Israelite are going to be able to fly. Men, starting with the 144,000, because that's, the ruling government, all right, Yahushai's brothers. So that is, starting from the 144,000, the men, women, and children, they're all gonna fly. You might say, oh, my woman too? Yes, your woman too, You might say, "Oh, my sister." Yep, your sister's gonna be flying too. You might say, "Oh, my children." Yep, your children are gonna be flying. Your children are gonna be what, 4, 5 years old, 6 years old, and they're gonna be flying. You see? All right. So that's what we're waiting on. It's very amazing. Imagine that. We're gonna be superhuman on the planet Earth. But the thing is, remember, do you believe? Okay? Remember that. Do you believe? Huh? They shall run and not be weary, because they're gonna have spiritual power. Okay? They're gonna have spiritual power. So this is what you have to. This is what you gotta understand. Okay? Because the elect are gonna have spiritual power. Okay? And not be weary. So they're gonna be running like the Flash out here. Okay? Once the 144 receive power, they're gonna be running like the Flash out here, and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. So what does that mean? Because they're gonna be running like the Flash out here, so they're not gonna be tired. Like these comic videos. You have DC. You have you have all these superhero movies. They have like a weakness. Sometimes they get a little tired. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so what happens is that sometimes they have a weakness. Sometimes they get tired, right? Okay, so right here with this once the 144 receives spiritual power, okay, once the 144 receives spiritual power, they're not gonna get tired. Okay, they're not gonna get tired. This is what you gotta understand. You see? All right. So this is something that this is what you gotta understand. So they're not gonna have a weakness like they're not gonna have a weakness like like the rest of everybody else. Okay, like these comics. Like Superman. He kind of gets tired. After so long, he has a weakness. When the 144,000 get activated, they're not gonna be tired. So this is something that you gotta understand. They're not gonna be tired. You see? So they should not be worried. Huh? All right. Right here, so we have Hebrews 11:6. But without faith, it is impossible to please Him. See that? So without faith, it is impossible to please Him, because once again, do you believe? Are you just pretending, saying, "Yeah, I'm an Israelite, believe in the Lord"? Remember that. Do you believe that the Lord is gonna give you immortality? That the Lord can save you? Do you believe that, or are you just kind of going with the flow, like, yeah, I'm an Israelite, But do you believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai? Huh? All right. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please Him. See that? So without faith, it is impossible to please Him. Huh? For he that cometh to the Most High, Yahweh, must believe that He is. Okay, so this is something you got to understand. So when you come into this thing, the truth, you're awoken, like, all right, I'm an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? Okay. For right here, but without for he that cometh to the Most High must believe. See, must believe. So do you believe? Must believe that He is. Okay, and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. See that? Okay, because this is what you gotta understand. Do you believe? So right here, for he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is. So you have to really believe it, like you have to really, really believe it, not just, just say it, and just wing it. Like, yeah, no, like you got to really believe, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. See that? All right, this is what you got to understand out there. See? All right, that he is a rewarder of them, a rewarder, because why? The Lord is going to reward them that kept the word, okay, that kept the faith. You know what I'm saying? And that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So this is what you gotta understand, because the Lord is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. All right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, absolutely. So, he is a rewarder, because the Lord is. It's just like when you're at work. You work and you get your check, right? Okay, you do the work of the Lord. You think the Lord's not going to pay you? You think the Lord's not going to reward you? If the Lord said that he's going to reward you, okay, he's going to do it. This is something you got to understand. All right? That's very major right there. Very major right there. Because you got to believe not only that the Lord is, but do you believe that he's going to, give you immortality? Do you believe that he's going to help you in the time of famine? All right. Oh, you know what? Let's go to Isaiah. Okay, so Isaiah chapter 65. All right, so let's start at verse 12, and then we'll go down a couple of verses, see how it is in the spirit. Okay. All right, so Isaiah chapter 65, verse 12. Therefore will I number you to the sword. All right, see that? Damn. Those of you that don't believe. Okay. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. See that? Because if you don't believe in the Lord, he's not going to cover you. So remember, the Lord controls the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So once the Lord makes the left-hand side roll, because remember, they're going to roll out here, okay, with their martial law troops, everything, their drones, this, whatever they're going to bring to try to bring in that new world order. All right. And ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because the Lord's going to allow them to have their way with you. Why? Because you're not trusting in him. So the Lord's going to allow you to get destroyed by our enemies. And remember, key point, they are our enemies. And you Jakes are going to find that out, because they're going to be torturing a lot of you Jakes and that Israelites in those concentration camps. Absolutely. Okay. Yep, and now not only Israelites too, because they're going to be torturing Edomites in there, Moabites, because, the New World Order is about depopulation. That's one of it's depopulation and total control, because when I called, you did not answer, because right now there's that calling, and you guys, they're not answering, meaning you're not trying to repent, you're just like, oh, whatever, you know what I'm saying? See, All right, so right here, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear. Yeah, because once again, the scoffers and scorners, you just fan your hand, you roll your eyes, you're like, yeah, right, the Lord's not a so-called black man. Get out of here. That's BS. You see? But that's fine. That's suit yourself. All right. But did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. See that? Because, right, so basically the 2/3 of the Israelites scattered around the planet Earth, they're choosing not to repent. They're choosing, well, whatever, I'm just gonna be a degenerate, or they're actually joining forces with the so-called white man, which is retarded, because after the so-called white man uses them, they're gonna turn around and take them out too. It don't matter if they're like the best agent out there, they're good at voodoo, whatever, you know, yeah, they're gonna take them out too. Because as long as they have Israelite blood running through their veins, remember the top elites, they want their birthright back. See? All right. Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 14. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry. Oh, here we go. Wait. Oh, let's go to the 13th verse. Okay, Isaiah chapter 65 verse 13. Here's the point. Therefore, thus said the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai power. Behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. See that? Okay, so right there. All right, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry, because the elect are going to eat. That's something that you got to understand, okay? The elect are going to eat. Behold, my servants shall drink. All right, but ye shall be thirsty. So, right here, behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty, right? Because once these elites, once these elites starve people out, cut off the food supply, water supply, stop shipments from coming in and out. All right, a lot of people are gonna starve out here. A lot of people are gonna starve out here. But ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. See that? But ye shall be ashamed. So right there, okay, right there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so that's that right there, because the elect are gonna rejoice because they're gonna be fed, but they're gonna have that faith, that confidence. So that goes into Isaiah 33 and 6, because knowledge and wisdom shall be thy stability of thy times. You see, verse. Let's read 14. Isaiah 65:14. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. See, and ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai shall slay thee, and call these servants by another name. So let's go to Isaiah. Okay, bear with me. We get it real fast. Right here, Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be thy stability of thy times. All right, because meaning that the elect are going to be stable, collective, because they're going to have they're going to have at least that that wisdom. How people say in this world, a peace of mind, because you're going to understand what's happening, why it's happening. You know what I'm saying? So this is what you have to understand. You know what I mean? This is something that you got to understand, because the elect know, okay, what's happening. Okay, yeah, the elites are shutting it down. Why? Because they want to fulfill the New World Order. They want to depopulate the world. See that? So the elect are going to have a stable mind, because they're going to know, okay, this world is like that, because it's going down, because it's prophecy. The Lord said this and that was going to happen. You see what I'm saying? So this is what the this is what you got to understand. Is going to happen out here. Okay, and wisdom and knowledge shall be thy stability of thy times, because wisdom and knowledge, because you're going to understand. Why? Because you're hearing the words from the Lord. Okay, the prophets are telling you the past, the present, and the future. So you're gonna know. Okay, look, this is happening. All right, they're starting to starve people out. Okay, now they're declaring martial law. Because the the prophets and the servants of Yahweh Bashim Shai are telling you step by step. Okay, are telling you step by step, what's gonna happen. All right, this is what you gotta understand. Step by step, step by step. Okay, and wisdom and knowledge shall be thy stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, is his treasure. Because, all right, so right here, the fear of the Lord. So it doesn't mean that you have to be walking around with a tail up your behind, like a scaredy cat, but no, because remember, back to Revelation 3 and 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, because the whole world is going to be tried. The whole world is going to be tested. Okay, so the thing is, when you get put in dire straits, when you go through your ups and downs, when that big final test is coming, when these cities are under martial law, they're chopping off people's heads in these guillotines, all right, you're going to understand that, oh man, yeah, you're going to understand, okay, well, you're going to know like, okay, well, damn, well, you know what, they might take my family out and they might take me out, but so what? I'm not going to sell out. I'm not bowing down to the elites, Satan and the New World Order. See that? You're saying I'm going to follow the Lord no matter what, even if it's death. I'm gonna take death manfully, or like women, because there's women in this thing. You got the daughters of Zion out there, the elect women, right? Okay, so they're gonna, you guys out there are gonna be tried too, All right, so and that's just a little, shout out to the women out there, okay, the daughters of Zion. For those of you women out there that believe in the Lord, all right, you're doing a good job. Remember, you're very beautiful and you're very strong. Okay, you're doing a good job. Just keep it up. All right, the Lord sees. The Lord sees you, and the angels see you. So don't be so hard on yourself and be like, man, look at I'm believing. I hope the Lord sees you. The Lord sees you. Okay, just you gotta relax. Okay, you gotta relax, man. All right, because the Lord and the angels see everything. All right, so if you're being sincere and you're truly repenting, you're like, man, I'm trying. I believe. Remember, that's right there. Going back to the what is it? Going back to the what was that? The topic, okay? Do you believe? All right, remember that. Do you believe? Huh? This is something you gotta understand. All right. Do you believe? Huh? See? So, if you really believe out there, the Lord knows. All right. So the fear of the Lord is His treasure. Yahweh Bashim Shai, because if you fear the Lord, you're going to be put in predicaments, dire straits, difficult situations. All right, but that is not going to phase you. You're going to be like, okay, well, I may have to lose everything. I may have to get locked up, betrayed. See them even torture my family in front of me. But you're still like, well, I'm still going to hold my ground and believe in the Lord no matter what, because you got to remember, the ICBMs are on their way over here. So, it's just like those same Israelites who wanted to go back to Egypt after there was nothing left. Okay, you got to remember, these Edomites and heathens, they're out of here. They're going to slavery. So those of you that sell out now are complete idiots, but hey, that's on you. Because this place is about to be completely destroyed out here. So that's why you need that fear of the Lord. Because it's not so much that the Lord wants you to be all like scared out here, like a sissy. No, the Lord, you got to have that fear of the Lord, because if you do go off and you're not, staying on track, you're going to be like, damn, I got to get on point. Shoot, I got to do better, That fear there is going to keep you in line. Okay, it's going to keep you right there on the path. You know what I'm saying? Because, everyone's going to make mistakes, have slip-ups. But when you make a mistake, you're gonna get back on point. Like, damn, I gotta get back on point. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You're gonna make the adjustments. You're gonna take the necessary measures to get back right with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So that's that fear there. Because if you don't fear, you're gonna be like, oh, whatever. You know, if you don't see fear the Lord, you're gonna be like, oh, well, whatever. You know, whatever happens, happens. See, because you don't fear the Lord. But if you fear, yeah, you're gonna pray, you're gonna fast, you're gonna ask questions. You know, because you're like, damn, I don't want to be destroyed. See, because that's that fear there. See that? Because you're gonna be, you're actually gonna put effort. Like, okay, yeah, man, snap, like, because you're gonna want to know, like, oh man, see, you're gonna want to know, like, okay, well, damn, you're gonna want to know these things. So that's what is that fear there. Okay, so to help keep you right. Now, also fear is good of the Lord, because remember, if something happens to you where you have to get taken away, go to a black site, concentration camp, so what? This is why when you get put in that predicament, you're gonna, in that day, if you fear the Lord, you're gonna be like, well, fuck it, whatever. Excuse my Italian. You're gonna be like, well, if I get tortured by man, that's fine, but I'd rather be tortured by man than tortured by the Lord. See, because some of you elect out there are going to be tried. See that? But you're going to have, that, you're going to have that, fear on you, like, damn, like, man, well, I don't want to be destroyed by the Lord, so, if I gotta lose my family, whatever, you're not gonna be like, okay, if they take you to a black site, you're not gonna be like, or a concentration camp, because if they take you to a black site, that's it, you're pretty much, they're not gonna ask you for, do you want to take the chip or not, But for the elect that go to a black site, the angels will protect you. Okay. All right, so because if you go to a black site, that's pretty much it. They're pretty much gonna try to destroy you. But they're not really gonna ask you if you want to take a chip. But that's only for like the concentration camps and the detention centers. You see? All right, so that's what you gotta understand right there. All right, this is what you have to understand, because if you get put in that situation, which is gonna suck for a lot of people, but you're gonna say, well, whatever, because you're gonna say, well, I'm just gonna endure it. I'm just gonna endure it, because you're not gonna want to be destroyed by the Lord. So whatever our enemies throw at you, they give you football numbers, say, well, we're gonna lock you up for 100 years or whatever. You're gonna say, well, let's go, because you're not gonna sell out to you're not going to sell out to the New World Order and the elites, because you're going to fear the Lord. Like, well, I'd rather be betrayed by men and women and by people of this world than to be, hated by the Lord. Because you got that fear there. See, so whatever they throw at you, you're going to say, well, I'm just going to endure it, because you rather suffer of this world and, from these leaders and people out here than by the Lord, See, so that fear is very important there, So that's it on today's lesson on do you believe? Okay, do you believe? So with that, that's it on today's lesson. Keep the faith, stay patient, and stay in the Spirit. Okay? Don't let nobody take you off your path. All right, stay in the Spirit. All right, and just keep believing. That's it. The Lord's gonna do the rest. That's what you gotta understand. Okay, the Lord's gonna do the rest. He's gonna take care of His elect. Oh, absolutely. So with that, that's it on today's lesson. Stay strong on your feet, soldier. Shalom.